everybody? It's JetsCentral coming back with the Week 6 preview video for the upcoming matchup between the Dallas Cowboys at the New York Jets. Okay, so the game's going to be played in MetLife Stadium, but a quick little heads up for all the Jets fans out there. Remember that this is actually a 4:25 kickoff, not a 1 o'clock, so just keep that in mind on Sunday. Just so you don't, just so you plan accordingly, obviously. But in any case, the Dallas Cowboys are coming off a pretty bad loss, all right? The Cowboys are a stacked team. Everybody knows about their quarterback, their running back, their offensive line. They have playmakers all across the defense with Byron Jones and Leighton Vander Esch, Jalen Smith, a guy that we wanted out of Notre Dame. Remember, Jets fans, we wanted Jalen Smith out of Notre Dame, but we chose Darren Lee instead. But I digress. The point is that the Dallas Cowboys are stacked. They're a stacked team. They have one of the better up-and-coming offensive minds at offensive coordinator in Kellen Moore. They have Chris Richard, a guy who is, he was getting head coaching looks. He actually got a head coaching interview last season with the Miami Dolphins. I don't really know what went down with that. Did he decline the job? Did the Dolphins kind of pull back on it? I don't really know what the case was, but Richard is an extremely bright individual, right? He understands defensive football. He understands the passing game. So this is a Cowboys team coming off a pretty bad loss, heading into MetLife Stadium. They're more talented than us. They should win this game, okay? This is a team right now that I feel like they expect to win this game, Dak to get back on track. And with the way our defense has looked, with the way our offense has looked this season, same with the coaching staff, the Cowboys should go into MetLife, and I think they're 7-point favorites as of right now. Now, I did pull up a couple stats, as far as the offensive side of the football goes. For this Jets team, it's pretty depressing, not going to lie to you. But the good news is that Sam Darnold is back, so he's going to be playing. He's supposedly 100% healthy and good to go, and he could take contact. So hopefully, fingers crossed here, knock on wood, that we see a electric Jets offense, because we still have Jamison Crowder. We still have Le'Veon Bell. We still have Ty Montgomery. We still have Robbie Anderson. Okay. Of course, we're not 100% locked and loaded, with health, because we still have guys like Quincy Enunwa missing time, or really missing the season. We don't really know what's going on with the offensive line. There's a couple of guys banged up. They're making a few switches, there too. And then, of course, we saw Chris Herndon get hurt. Right, Chris Herndon finally gets back from his suspension, 4 weeks, or 4 games rather, and then he gets hurt running routes. It's almost like tragedy will find us, right? Like, shout out to counterparts. But in any case, the Jets have a bunch of things that they have to, clear up, figure out by Sunday, to go up against this Dallas Cowboy team. Because if we want to compete with this Cowboy team, we got to, cross our T's and dot our I's. Let me just read off a couple of these stats here. Points per game, 31. This is the New York Jets offense, by the way. Points per game, 31. Yards per game, last. Yards per play, last. Touchdowns per game, 31. Third down conversion rate, last. Quarterback sacks, last. Pass yards per game, last. Rush yards per game, 30. Bottom 3 in every category that I just mentioned. Are those numbers skewed a little bit because of Simeon, because of Luke Falk? Yes, obviously. But what these numbers tell me is that the offensive line has got to play better. We have got to get better play from the quarterback position. The wide receivers have got to get open, and the play calling has got to get more creative. We got to start stretching the field. I am so tired of seeing handoff, screen. Handoff, screen, incomplete. Handoff, draw play. It's just weird. It's predictable. Everybody knows what's going on here. We got to start stretching the field. I felt as though Sam Darnold, even though I don't think the deep ball is his best attribute, his best skill as a quarterback, I really feel like Darnold did a really solid job in his rookie year hitting guys over the middle of the field and the intermediate routes, especially at USC. That was his bread and butter. I feel like as a fan watching Darnold, he feels comfortable in that aspect, with guys, 15 and in, 10 and ins, right? Just those crossing patterns, the slants, just 1, 2, 3 balls out, 5-step drop ball out, hitting guys over the middle of the field. I feel like we have not done that at all. I feel like everything is kind of behind the line of scrimmage. Everything is gimmicky. everything's like a bubble screen or a slip screen, or it's just weird. I don't like the offense at all. I got to be honest with you. I'm not going to sugarcoat it any longer. The offense is bland. It's boring. It's predictable. It sucks. Okay, the play calling, that is. We got to start getting creative here. We got to start pushing the ball downfield, because think about it. If you're if you're Chris Richard here, or if you're a defensive coordinator from around the league, and the Jets on first down, they hand it off every time. They don't push the ball downfield. They maybe will have maybe a handful of plays per game where they actually throw the ball more than 15 yards past the line of scrimmage. I'm not talking about a play that went for 15 yards. I'm talking about the ball actually leaving the quarterback's hand and traveling through the air 15 yards. So we virtually have no downfield passing attack at all. We don't throw the ball deep. We don't throw the ball intermediate. We don't really establish the play action game. And it's just weird. Everything is condensed. It's almost like the Jets are not allowed to throw the ball. Like they're playing a game with themselves, that they can't throw the football past 5 yards. Like they have to dump it off within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, and that's the only way we can move the chains. Those are the only plays that we can call. Now, of course, we are handcuffed by the horrid offensive line play that has been displayed throughout the season. The tackles have been getting beat. We've had the internal pressure really wreaking havoc upon Luke Falk and Trevor Siemian, and even Sam Darnold to a certain extent. The only difference is that Darnold can actually extend the play, get out of the pocket, but even when he does that, he's shown from time to time to get sacked, to instead of throwing the ball away, trying to make something out of nothing. And it's a loss of 8, it's a loss of 12, it's a loss of 15. Those are the negative plays that cannot happen. But like we saw in week 1 against Buffalo, where he goes out and he extends the play, curls back around, hits Le'Veon Bell in the back of the end zone. I think that was like the 2-point conversion. The one 2-point conversion. The only pretty much time I can remember the Jets actually getting in the end zone on offense. The other play was, I think, the play right before where he flipped it out to Le'Veon Bell. Not that good of a pass, but Le'Veon kind of scooped it up and made a play. That's the magic of Sam when he is, escaping the pocket and really improvising and just doing his thing out there. That's why I feel like Darnold's at his best. You have to take the good with the bad, kind of live by the 3, die by the 3. You see guys kind of throughout the course of the NFL history, like guys like Tony Romo, who've done that. They make plays, they make throws that some guys can only dream about, but with the same token, the very next play, the very next drive, the very next game, he could look like a rookie quarterback. Like, dude, what are you doing? I feel like Darnold is kind of the same way. He's going to always throw a lot of picks. He's always going to throw a lot of incompletions, but he's going to make those spectacular plays. He's going to extend plays. He's going to just maneuver around and find a way. So kind of ironic in a sense. And I didn't bring up Tony Romo because we're playing Dallas here, but in any case, the Jets have got to bring their A game. Dallas needs a win desperately. Like I said, they're the better team. They're way better coached. They have way better players. They're going to come in looking, hungry for a win, knowing that they're better than us. So we have to come prepared. The offensive line has got to figure out what's going. We got to figure out a plan to protect Sam. We got to figure out a way to do that. We got to get creative on offense, and I feel like these videos every week, these preview videos, it's basically me and you guys saying the same thing down below in the comment section. It's the same thing every time. It's almost like we don't prepare throughout the week, and we just have been using the same game plan against Buffalo every single week. Week 2, week 3, week 4. We're not making any adjustments at halftime. It's the same boring play calls. It's the same vanilla game planning. I mean, honestly, if I'm the New York Jets, I'm taking a page out of Chip Kelly's book and scripting plays. Let's script the first 10 plays of the game. Doesn't really matter the defensive look. Just script them out, and that way you can just get up to the line and go. Nobody's thinking. You're just reacting. Because so far what we've seen, as far as Luke Falk trying to read a defense, Trevor Siemian trying to read a defense, and like we kind of alluded to before, even in the week 1 matchup against the Bills, where we had guys like C.J. Mosley and Quinnen Williams healthy, when we had the whole squad minus, a couple guys like Copeland and Anunwa Herndon and stuff, when we had a more healthy team, a deeper team, we still were a little shaky on offense. And granted, the Bills' defense is fantastic, but you still kind of want to see a little bit more, some sort of a spark from the Jets. I mean, we have too many playmakers on this squad. We have a quarterback in year 2 that feels really comfortable. Well, he says he feels really comfortable in the system, and we're paying a guy millions of dollars to be the quarterback whisperer, quarterback guru, whatever you want to call him. I mean, the numbers. I'm not a numbers guy at all. You know me, I hate statistics. It's not my thing. Fantasy football, all that stuff, QBR, it's such an overrated stat. But when you're constantly bottom 3 in almost every meaningful offensive statistic, yards, points, yards per play, touchdowns, sacks, pass yards per game, rush yards per game, when you're bottom 3 in literally so many different categories, that's telling that something needs to change. It's not just on a player. It's not just on one player. It's not just on one coach. It's not just on one play or who we're playing. It's a collective unit. We got to get better. As far as the defensive side of the football goes, I mean, we have a handful of guys that are doing their thing. Jamal Adams specifically. Neville Hewitt out here dominating. I think he actually leads the team in tackles, by the way. I could be wrong on that, but Neville Hewitt leads the team in tackles. Shout out to him. He's doing his thing. Mind you, he's a backup. He's not a starter. He's not on a Trumaine Johnson style of contract. He is a backup player that, spent some time in Miami, came out of Marshall, had a great career with Marshall. He's coming in. I've always loved Neville because he's a surefire tackler, not afraid to hit, not afraid to wrap up in open fields. And whenever his number is called, he seems to make plays. Not saying he's a top 5 linebacker in the league or anything like that, but you have some guys that can, that are playing at a high level. Adams, Hewitt. I'm really excited to see what Quinnen Williams does. I know there was a lot of people kind of talking crap about him on Twitter and stuff like that for the Eagles' performance, but people have to understand that Quinnen is not going to rack up 14 sacks his rookie year. He is not that type of player. He's the defensive tackle, especially in this system. He's going to do some of the dirty work here. Now, Leonard Williams, on the other hand, I've been hearing that for way too long. Even if he is doing dirty work, he's still only racking up like 1 or 2 or 3 tackles per game. It's ridiculous. There's no quarterback pressure at all. There's not even a threat. And I know, you hear Gase and Williams and stuff like that saying, oh, he's doing tons of the dirty work and he's getting a bad rap and this and that. I almost think that they're just saying that so his trade value isn't just, rapidly declining here. But I mean, you don't have to be a coach. You don't have to be an expert on NFL film or defensive line mastermind to understand Leonard Williams needs to play better. He was the 6th overall draft pick. We took him not even needing him because he was that good. He was that good to where we can say, hey, we have Sheldon Richardson. Hey, we have Muhammad Wilkerson. Hey, we have all these guys on the defensive line. It's not even a guarantee that he's going to start, but he is that good that we need to take him at 6. Let's pass on the offensive line. Let's pass on wide receiver. Some of the needs that we needed back in 2015, we took him anyway. Simply hasn't produced. And yeah, he has flashed. Yes, he still does have potential, and he has a high ceiling, and I wish nothing but the best for him moving forward. But it's discouraging when you see him getting pushed around and laying on the field and not getting up in the middle of the play. Or not being low and just being high and just kind of dilly-dallying around where it just feels like, where's the effort kind of thing. And from a fan's perspective, it's just frustrating. Especially a guy like Leonard, who has the potential to be one of these really, really solid players. I mean, his pro comparison coming out was, I think, Richard Seymour of Oakland. So, Copeland's back, though. Brandon Copeland's back, so that should be a positive, because I thought he's always been one of those Jets that have kind of, showed up and done his job, and just like Neville Hewitt, he's just one of those guys. So I'll leave it there. We have injuries. We got to step up this week, but it is what it is. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and go Jets.